Hi everyone and welcome to my new mixed media painting tutorial, where I will try to explain how I use watercolors in combination with colored pencil. So here you can see that I transferred my reference onto watercolor paper, which I glued on a wood panel, because I personally find it easier to paint on a surface that will not bend or have folds, which often happens when you paint with watercolor paper. Even if it's stretched on a painting block, then it will also bend and warp, which I find distracting. So that's why I glued it in advance on a wood panel. So here you see how I start out with the initial colors, and I started with the roses. And it's very important when you paint on watercolor paper that you know in advance where the lightest and the brightest colors will be. So for example, on this painting the roses are the brightest color on the entire motif. So I mixed the color with, I think, cadmium red light and magenta and another red tone, which I don't know. I used to buy only colors that have a high pigmentation, so I know that they will give a bright tone to the paper. And, which is very important when you paint with watercolors, is that you can't get brighter. When you paint with oil paints, for example, you always can mix the color you want, and most of the time very opaque. Or if you use a bright, if you want to use a bright pink, you can just make another layer of white and then lay the pink over it. But this doesn't work with watercolors at all. You have to make the first color right if you know that this one should be a bright area. For me, watercolor painting is like painting backboards. So I'm continuing layering the watercolors over and filling out all areas that need to be filled out. And now I'm starting with the face. The face is always the most exciting and most thrilling part with watercolors, because, as I said, watercolors are not very forgiving. So you have to make it most of the time right with the first try. But you can, however, lift some of the old paint from the surface. Lift it up again when you have a wet brush. But you will see it at the end of the video. I made an example how to get rid of too much paint. Because that happens sometimes too. So here I'm painting the darkest or the key areas of the face, which are the eyes, the lashes, the eyebrows, the nostrils, and also the lips. Because although I made a very detailed, I transferred my reference, which was very detailed, the lines will fade when you put watercolors over them. So I always have to look to the reference to fill out the area entirely and right, and not that the face looks kind of awkward. So you have to not completely rely on your transfer sketch, but instead always look back to your reference, which I have open in a window on my laptop, so that you know you're not getting off too much from the reference. If you like to exaggerate, however, you can just paint it like you want. But also then you should probably have done it in your previous sketch, so that you don't mess around with the surface of the watercolor paper, because some watercolor papers are very delicate and sensitive, and you can't erase your pencil from it anymore. So it and most of the times has to be right in the first place, which is very terrifying if you starting out with watercolors. But don't be afraid. If you see that you messed up your painting, it's no problem. Just start another one. I'm doing that all the time. I messed up so much paintings. It's incredible. So here I'm painting the face only with watercolors. You might have noticed that I haven't even touched a pencil yet. And this is my progress with my watercolor paintings most of the time. I'm starting out with watercolors, and you see my palette is very messy, and this is how I mix my colors. I just look at my reference and see, for example, the skin tones, and try to guess which colors are in the skin tones. And these are mostly grays and greens and reds and ochre tones and some pastel rose tones, of course. And you see that I enhance the speed of the video because it takes really forever. Like, I'm really, especially with those small faces, when you make a little gradient with your brushes, it has a lot of huge effect. So it really takes forever for me to get it right. So now I'm already using my pencil, and this is a luminance brush from pencil. So some I have the names. I will put the name in the description of the pencil. So I'm using some polychromos from Faber-Castell, which are very common. I think many artists know them. And this the white luminance pencil I use is the only one I found that has a decent opacity level, because the polychromos color pencils, even though if they have a great quality and are very good pencils, they have no effect if you use them on watercolor paper or on your drawing when you want to make highlights. The pencil with the most effect is this luminance pencil, and it's very oily. So I think there might be other brands who produce oily pencils which have a good opacity quality. Now I'm filling out the other areas of the painting and also the roses. And I try with this painting, I try to make mix of abstract and fine detailed areas. So I decided that the face is my focal point, so I worked it as fine as I could, and I did that with the combination of color pencil and watercolor. And another area you see is embroidery. It's the dress of the girl, and I thought this pattern is so beautiful that I will try to fill it out. And you see that I also enhance the speed of the video because it really took forever to make this pattern. And what I can recommend you is to use white watercolor. You should definitely use maybe from Schminke, the brand, or another good brand, because the white watercolor has a good level of opacity. It's not really perfect. Sometimes you don't even see your brushes, but for example, for this pattern on the dress, there were very thin lines, and if you look close enough, you can see them between the patterns. For this, I used white watercolor. Oh, and don't try acrylics. I thought I can use acrylics to have a good opacity with white, but I don't know, maybe I'm just not trained enough to use acrylics, but it dries, and then you have an ugly surface. Watercolor sinks completely into the paper, so you have no visible brush strokes on the surface. And if you use acrylics, you have to also be aware how your brush stroke looks, and because it's drying so fast, in my opinion, you have to be very skilled to get it right. So what you just saw in the video was that I wanted to have some watercolor splashes, but I didn't want to affect the face, so I covered it with a paper towel. You can use this if you're not super confident that your splashes will be there where you want them. So, and I'm here filling out some of the darker areas, and I'm painting this cute little cat skull. I'm doing this with a brush because don't need to be super perfect. For me, these flowers and the skulls and the leaves are just a way to decorate or just accompany the face. So if I would make it too detailed, it would draw too much of attention away from the face. So I'm just painting them, but making them not too fine or too detailed like I did with the face. And also with the dress, maybe you can see it, at the shoulder, I made the details intensively, and then they are fading out the more they come to the edge of the painting. And I'm always trying to work or find a point or an area of painting, and then I'm trying to make the thing around the area a little bit more abstract, so that the attention of the viewer will be drawn to that specific point. This point don't have to be in the middle of the painting. For example, on this painting it's more in the left center. So, and this is some ivy. I really love ivy. And I took all the pictures, reference pictures for this painting myself. I bought roses, and we have a cat skull and ivy, and I really love this. And here you see my technique where I use a wet brush to lift off some of the watercolor from the paper. You can even use this with dried watercolor. Even a week after you paint it, it can always be used to lighten some areas up or just fix some mistakes you did. This is a good thing with watercolor paper. So I hope this video helped you a little bit, and I will try to explain my technique in more detail with upcoming videos. And if you have any questions, just message me. I'm there to help you.